addressed just to move forward with our planning sessions and meetings. I'd like to thank, first of all 8 other board members for their contributions in support of this statement, which we'll use as a process moving forward. And we've learned a lot over the past few months about the public and the community's passion, and we fully support the community's ability to make comments both during planning sessions and at the regular monthly meetings. Public comments are designed to provide the board of directors with the views of the community as they relate to agenda and non-agenda items. For current agenda items during the comment period, the public can share their thoughts, which in turn allows the board to consider all thoughts and opinions. For non-agenda items, it affords the public the opportunity to bring new concerns to light. The public comment period, however, is not a question and answer session. Some questions simply cannot be answered on the spot, and it is unfair then for us to answer some questions and not others. Therefore, questions during the public comment period will not be entertained. Board members have the right to make comments at the conclusion of the public comment period. Moving forward, personal attacks on district employees, board members, etc. will not be tolerated. Questions specifically for the board or the superintendent should be sent to the district office in writing beforehand. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Delarose. A couple remarks we have today. We have members of our school play who have received an honor to go down and do a countywide presentation a little bit later in the month, and they'll be here to speak when I'm done. I think Talon Bagwell is here to represent them to speak for that. And the same with our band. Our band has recently come back from a really awesome performance and received multiple awards for their performances, and they will be playing one song for us as we move forward and have a little things to discuss as well. And we want to congratulate them for all their hard work and their efforts and the awards that they brought back and how well they represented our district. So thank you to both the play, those involved in the play, and to our band and the leaders in both of those. Thank you. PSSA exams are done. That's grades 3 through. Oh, 1 second, please. PSSAs are done. Those are the state assessments for grades 3 through 8. Keystone exams have started in the high school. The students in our district were well represented this past Saturday at the Perennial Project of helping beautify downtown Brownsville. And their efforts and the number of kids that were involved with that, again, speak volumes of the quality of kids that we have in our district. So thank you to all of them. NHS is this Wednesday for the middle school. National Honor Society for the middle school is this Wednesday evening. CTI graduation is tomorrow night in Uniontown's auditorium. The 5th grade promotion day will be on the 30th, and the kindergarten promotion day will be on the 31st. Of this month. That's all I have at this time. Thank you. Yes. Marissa McFerrin.
All right, as the kids get set up, we have brought the trophies back so that way everybody can see besides the pictures on Facebook. Very exciting. 4 first place, a second place, and an overall, which I'll go into a little later. You guys are going to use this stage as your music stands, so turn around. That way, believe me, if you guys are loud enough, they'll all hear you. So this piece is the Thunderbird. And what our students are doing right now is we would actually like any member of the school board who is willing to try an instrument today. We have brought some of our extras. Do not be intimidated. Please, if you need help, please don't break my instruments. But feel free, we also have music for you. I know there's a lot of band alumni and things, and I don't know who you are, but it's a kind of big moment. So if you're willing, to try, I have extra music for you. If you just want to sit and be like, wow, those cases are numbered so beautifully by someone with pretty mediocre handwriting. That is perfectly acceptable too. But we wanted to bring those down and offer. Yeah, that's pretty great. Actually, a lot of those trumpets were donated by one of our parents in the audience, Renee Fertile, so that's pretty cool. Woo! So, if you'd like to try it, go ahead. I know a lot of them are trumpets. And we have music if anybody wants to try. Okay. I thought I'd try. You can also take it home, practice. We're starting an alumni band. It's going to be fun. All right, and this is the Thunderer. This was our grade 1 piece that the middle school band, which we combined our 7th grade and 8th grade concert bands to compete with. Obviously, not all our members could be here tonight, so I called in a couple of our high school ringers, which we do a lot to beef up our numbers. We call our lower ones up, our upper ones down. And this is the Thunderer by John Philip Sousa, for which they received an excellent rating and first place in their category. You guys ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and. If you guys want to go help your school board members out by not making them hold on to the instruments too much longer, and then you guys are good to sit down. I'll leave the trophies here, they're important.
Thank you, Ms. Fargnoli. Thank you to all the band students. And again, thank you for the awesome performance today and this past weekend. So keep up the great work.
It was great seeing those trophies because it's been many years since we've had trophies for band. It's a great accomplishment. Thank you for rebuilding our program.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Patty, you look like you were doing great job.
The band has come a long way. And thanks to all of you and the students. That I've never seen this in the last 15 years come this far so fast.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to the band and keep it going.
Yeah, don't leave them up there, please.
Since they allowed me to hold the flute, I'd like to just make try to make a brief comment. In the district where I used to coach, I was very involved, and I went to a concert. And at the concert, the very first song they played, every single band member playing made one mistake on purpose, just one mistake. It was an absolute disaster. And then their leader stood up and said, if an athlete makes one mistake, if an athlete makes one mistake, that's phenomenal. If an athlete only doesn't get a hit one time up, or quarterback only throws one incomplete pass, or a receiver only drops one pass, they're phenomenal. But if a band member makes one mistake, it's a disaster. So that is an indication of how much work it is to be able to do what those kids just did, and we're very proud of them.
Thank you. So I hope that doesn't, I do have a 2-minute thing because I feel like I have not addressed you all yet. So I try to hide in the wings. I'm, a newer teacher here. So for those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Marissa McFerrin, and I'm the music teacher here at Brownsville. I currently teach 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 8th grade general music, as well as our 7th grade concert band, 8th grade concert band, marching band, competitive vocal band, and high school concert band. Up until this year, I also taught jazz band and elementary band, which my husband graciously agreed to take over this year to save the ensemble because I had scheduling conflicts at the elementary, so thank you. I have been employed here since May of 2022, and when I was first hired, there were 13 students in the 6 through 12 section of the band program. We had one concert band, one marching band, and an elementary band lesson program. But none of the ensembles were up to standards, and the curriculum being taught was not up to state regulation. So last year we started a jazz band. We brought back the school musicals with help of Trisha Balls. Can't wait to hear them later. It was amazing. And we brought back the elementary performance band and doubled the size of our program. But this year we continued to try to expand, and naturally with expansion, you're met with obstacles too. So like the students who loved the musical and wanted to sing, some were not either comfortable or able to join the after-school choir, so they asked to sing with the jazz band, which was great when it was 2 kids, and now we're up to 10, which proves its own difficulties, but that's a wonderful problem to have, so we started the vocal band. Due to scheduling conflicts with me teaching at the elementary school, I am no longer in the building for instrument drop-off or for first half of any of my after-school rehearsals. But we were able to hire an assistant director to help with that, which is an amazing accomplishment that now I have an assistant, which was incredibly helpful. We began to have music class for 3rd grade, but in the process we lost our elementary band lesson program. So my husband did volunteer this year to take what was left of the program to give them something, but they don't have lessons, so they have about 23 minutes of music a week in the cafeteria for band, all combined together. And I'm happy to say those students are trying really, really hard. Many of them are moving up to us next year. So they're making the most of a tricky situation. We were able to separate the 7th and 8th grade band students from the high school concert band so they could focus on more developmentally appropriate repertoire. But in the process, our 6th grade band members lost all access to concert band and are now 1 year further behind. I am working desperately to grow this music department to the level that this district, community, and students deserve. But I am only one person. I am both happy and nervous to announce that I will be on maternity leave later this fall, as I have found out that we are expecting our first child, which is very exciting in November. But as excited as I am about this new chapter in my life, I am coming to you today to express that I am not possibly able to wear all the hats that I do now, as there are already many gaps in our program requirements. The state of Pennsylvania requires music education at least once a week for 30 minutes beginning in kindergarten. And although it's true that instruction does not need to be by someone with a music education degree, I was originally told it was being provided by classroom teachers. And so I met with them, I tried to discuss with them, and it was made very clear to me by those classroom teachers that it has not been happening for several years, as they do not have the time or the musical knowledge to implement a curriculum, which I don't blame them. If you ask me to teach math today, there's no chance. So yet when you check the PA Department of Education website, we are not reported as failing to meet these standards, but the state website claims that all students in grades K through 12 must be provided with instruction in all 4 arts disciplines: dance, music, theater, and the visual arts. Local school districts are responsible for creating a written curriculum in all content areas. The state academic standards outline the minimal skills and knowledge that students must have at the ends of grades 3, 5, 8, and 12. School districts are responsible for assessing students in the arts and assuring that they are proficient in the standards in order to graduate high school. We are missing all national standards K through 2. The 6th through 8th, after my evaluation, is performing at a grade 4 through 6 level, and all creating standards are not being met by any level except those in the concert band and my 8th grade guitar class. When they come to me in 3rd grade as of this year, previously 4th grade, I spend all year trying to catch them up on 3 to 4 years of foundational skills and prerequisite information, while only seeing them once a week. Often less due to testing conflicts, field trips, band events, pep rallies, etc., that is through no fault of anyone. I continue to try to catch them up the best I can, and many of our students who wish to join the band or choir programs when they get older are thrown among students who already know what to do. Our marching band is the only 6 through 12 marching band in all of Washington, Fayette, and Greene counties. These are usually 1st or 2nd year players who still have not had time to learn to read music yet, let alone march or have proper technique. They are expected to be handed music and an instrument and know what to do. We are not one of the several districts that offers pull-out lessons during the school day, so I have no time to teach the students these skills. These students simply get a method book and are told, good luck. Very similar to what I asked you to do here tonight, by handing you an instrument and saying, just please don't break it. That is the equivalent of asking an 11-year-old soccer player to start varsity quarterback. If we, as adults, are too nervous or embarrassed to try these skills in front of people, I find it very unfair to ask the same as our students. I try desperately to help them when I have time, but it is just me and my assistant director teaching 50 kids who all have different instruments and ability levels. We have had Mr. Jalen Cloud volunteer to help this season as our percussion instructor for the marching band, which we are entirely grateful for as he has been a wonderful asset, but it is not currently a paid position. Many of my older high school students volunteer to tutor the beginners in the little free time they have, but that should not be their responsibility. That falls on me as a director, and I do not have the time. They do it because they are incredibly determined for the music program to succeed. They understand that although we now have a flourishing music department, I am a department of one, single-handedly planning all concerts, events, performances, trips, honor band auditions, audition clinics, bringing in guest musicians and speakers, instrument repair, professional development opportunities for both me and students, and running all music department rehearsals except jazz band. All music for the musical, sorry, I skipped a line, running all music for the musical and assisting with the jazz band, on top of ordering all of my supplies, music, and writing 9 separate lesson plans a day. Our Brownsville students are phenomenal and constantly step up to fill in the missing gaps of our program. Despite all of these setbacks, these students show up before school, during school, and after school. Weekends, they organize their own rehearsals at their homes, they tutor each other, and they consistently strive for excellence. Their dedication shows. This weekend in Washington, D.C., we traveled with 46 out of 56 students in the 6 through 12 program and brought home 6 trophies, one for every category we entered. These students earned first place in middle school concert band, second place in high school concert band, first place in jazz band, first place in marching band, and first place mixed choir. They also won the overall Spirit to Corps Award out of all school districts at the competition. This award is described as the overall award recognizing the participating organization that displays an exemplary attitude of positive support and outstanding personal behavior throughout a festival weekend. Personal integrity, quality character values, a desire for excellence, and spirit of cooperation amongst their peers and all around them serve as a cornerstone qualities for the Spirit to Corps Award. These students' accomplishments deserve to be celebrated. They have worked harder than any group I have ever seen in my 4 school districts before this, just to have a chance at the opportunities other districts provide automatically. I mean, look at what they have accomplished with everything stacked against them. With the right support, they will be unstoppable. Music is so important to these kids. I am constantly handed thank you letters, notes, little gifts, and snacks, thanks guys, about how important this is to them, about how it's brought them new friends, it's helped with anxiety, it gives them a reason to come to school on days they don't want to get out of bed. And what they don't know is that music has also proven to raise test scores, improve delinquent attendance, improve school discipline. Many of these studies are found in a presentation that I know I have sent to a couple of you who have asked for it. I shared it with Dr. Martin and Dr. Hartbauer last year, and I'm happy to send it to any of you who would be interested. In the presentation, I also have my current schedule, my last year's schedule, a copy of all of their events and schedules that just please let me know through email, and I'm happy to forward it to you. So please, our district needs a full-time elementary music teacher so they may have lessons, prerequisite knowledge, adequate learning opportunities, and so we can be back in state compliance. And more than anything, these students need to know that we here at Brownsville reward hard work and perseverance through more than just words, that we love what they are doing and will continue to support them at all costs, because I plan on doing everything in my power, at least until November, to continue to do that. Thank you.
Evan Lee? Is Evan here?
Good evening. I would like to talk about how all of us, adults and kids, are stressed out because of how much work we do. The adults have to fundraise all day and have to think about all night what they need to do next. They should not have to do that. They should not have to sell door to door or to their friends and family just to get a bus ride to the next football game. Mrs. McFerrin has to go from the elementary school to the high school each day to help kids learn. Even though we won 6 trophies, it did not come easy. We worked extremely hard to get all those trophies, and we have to learn ourselves. We did not get lessons. In the past 2 years, we have won 10 trophies, and that makes me extremely happy. But sometimes I am tired after a day of school because I have to stay after school. Even with these disadvantages, I still have a great time, and I would like to thank all the adults and all my other students for making the band what it is, and especially the band director. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Evan. Memphis Irvin? Memphis Irvin?
Hello, my name is Memphis Irvin. I'm in 8th grade and I am a part of the jazz band, middle school concert band, and marching band. Usually I don't make speeches, but today I wanted to try something new. That's what band is all about, trying something new and getting out of your comfort zone. It's amazing for building teamwork skills because everyone has to work together to create a harmony, whether they know the things that they are playing or working to play or not. It's all about the effort that you put in and the teamwork that we put out. If we had a better arts program to work with, maybe kids would want to try harder at school with the newfound confidence they had. Being in band isn't just about the music. It's about life skills that really help out in school and beyond. But with all of this information on why band is so beneficial for so many people, it helps greater because we have the best band director, teacher, mentor, and sometimes a babysitter to all of us that makes us feel loved. And I just want to say thank you for this opportunity that Mr. McFerrin and Mrs. McFerrin has given to all of us to perform and just everything that they do for us. We took the chance and ran with it, winning 6 trophies, all thanks to the people who have helped us get there. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Memphis. Stacy Victor?
I hate kind of following after them, because I actually wanted to ask about agenda items. A couple things I wanted to look at. Item letter G, under education. I met with Dr. Hartbauer today and Dr. Martin, Miss D'Amico, and I to talk about this program called Litera. It's a tutoring service, and it's supposed to take the place of Kelly's services. I just want to make the board aware, in the teacher's contract, there are part-time employees that can be hired. You don't always have to hire a full-time teacher, you can hire a part-time teacher. And this program is going to be for 1 year, and it's supposed to provide tutoring services during the school day. And one of the things is Dr. Hartbauer didn't have all of the information for me. He was going to get me how many hours, but I spoke to someone earlier today, and that this is for 2 10-week sessions, and I believe it's 30 slots for the elementary, 60 slots for the middle school, and 30 slots for the high school. And those students will have tutoring during the school day when, I assume, in place of instruction or along with their instruction. So where I'm looking at this now after I left my meeting and I was thinking about it, and I'm thinking, well, why can't we hire a teacher that could provide these services, or 2 part-time teachers? So I would ask the board, and I'd ask Dr. Hartbauer to provide me a little bit more information about this to make sure it's not a contract violation. And I understand it's ATSI money, it's Title IV money, but again, it's still our money, district money. The second thing is the purchasing of the $1,500 Chromebook cases. This I've been thinking about because I'm at all of these meetings. We spent $300,000 to buy all new Chromebooks, which I understand technology is constantly changing. We've had these Chromebooks for 4 years, and if you've looked at some of the Chromebooks, you would see why they need to be replaced. But also, I was thinking back about a lot of things that were being discussed about, and this is me as a taxpayer, by the way, not union, with the bullying problem. One of the things as a teacher is cell phones. Cell phones are a huge problem, especially at the middle school level, to where, unfortunately, if these kids are bullied, they're bullied 24/7 through social media platforms, through text messaging, and all of the other social medias. If we have $300,000, $250,000 being spent on Chromebooks and cases and everything, why do the kids need to have cell phones in the school? We have a district email. If the parents need to send a message to their kids, they can email them through the district email. The kids always have access to their Chromebooks. So maybe we can look at a better way of following the policy for the cell phones. Just in my own, as a teacher in my class, I have a place where they're supposed to put them. I ask them, not all of them put it where they're supposed to put it. They know who they are. And it's constant, it's like an extra limb. So we just kind of need to do better as teachers, parents, students, administration on how these kids deal with technology. I understand it's a technology world, but just because we have it doesn't mean that it's here for good or that it's doing good. So that was just something that I've been thinking about as I come to these meetings. So I think that was all I needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Richard. Jalen, or Talon Bagwell?
Good evening. My name is Talon Bagwell, and I am a proud member of the Brownsville Area School District's theater program. Theater is an activity that can change a child's life for the better in many ways. It enhances a child's social skills, self-esteem, time management, academic performance, involvement in the school, ability to work in a team, and morale. Personally, theater has had an enormous impact on my life over the years. It's helped me become more outgoing. It's taught me many social skills. And overall, it's helped me become a more capable person. I'm not the only one that has been positively impacted by theater. Over the past 2 school years, I have seen many instances of shy, quiet, and depressed students blossom into extroverted, lively, and confident young people because of theater. They started caring about school. They learned to express themselves without shame. They made long-lasting friendships. Many schools in the area recognize how essential the performing arts are for their students and have adequate and effective programs for theater, music, and chorus. We came face to face with this realization at Encore, an event at the Main Street Theater Company where 6 schools in the area had the opportunity to perform a medley of their musical. So, for those who are unaware, last weekend we had the opportunity to perform at the State Theater in Uniontown with other theater kids from Fayette County in a performance that we called Encore. We all got to perform part of our musical for the entire community. It was so much fun to interact with kids just like us who have the same passion for the arts as we do. We worked with a music/vocal director fresh off the Broadway tour of Six, the musical. We spent a wonderful week preparing for our encore performance. It was such a great time. We made so many new friends. But during this time, we learned that we are, without better words, behind the other districts regarding our performance levels. So what exactly does that mean? Well, the other schools in the county have choir and singing classes every day during the school for credit. One of them even had a theater class. The other schools had a chance to sing all the time. We were really behind in singing and reading music. It was very intimidating for us. So I would like to share a couple more things with you. So Fiddler on the Roof was a production put on by our entire school district. Between elementary, middle, and high school, we had approximately 100 students involved in the production. Among the students on the stage, the lighting, sound, and backstage crew, we had a huge team involved. There were only 3 production members directing us: Mrs. Rolfe, the director, Dr. Rolfe, the assistant director, and Mrs. McFerrin, the vocal/music director. Thank goodness for them and the many volunteers that helped us along the way. We see other sports and activities with much less student participation get much more funding and support. All we ask is for equal consideration. Something else I would like to ask, is it possible to run a summer theater program? Would it be possible to run a summer program much like our normal program? Mrs. Rolfe always says, busy kids are good kids. This would be an excellent way to keep us busy during the summer and to keep us involved. We would also like to have choir classes for the middle school and high school because, like I said, we are so behind on reading and learning music, we need to catch up. Oh, thank you. Another thing, I know this might not be credible to you, but I am in the vocal band. As some or all of you may know, we have just come back from Washington, D.C. as of yesterday. We won 6 trophies, and it was all on Mrs. McFerrin. Just like the musical. None of our students know how to read music, except for a select few. This is why I suggest we have choir and theater classes. Much like everyone else has said, please listen to us. We appreciate everything that you do. It's just that we want to pursue our theater passions. Please understand how much this means to us. Theater is invaluable. It is something that brings light to so many lives, and it brings people together. If we didn't have theater, students like me, and Serena, and Nonali, and Sai, and so many other theater kids, we wouldn't have had an outlet for our talent. And more importantly, we wouldn't have had a place where we felt accepted, encouraged, or valued. We wouldn't have found our sport. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Kyle. Mary June?
Hi, Madia. Today I'd like to talk about what band means to me, and it's a little improvised because I kind of, didn't really get a chance to write it. I'd like to talk about what band means to me. When I first came to this school, I had almost nothing. I had a small group of mutual friends. I had bad grades. I didn't want to get up in the morning. I didn't like who I was. Then my older brother joined band, and I gawked and laughed at him. I told him he was stupid for dancing around and playing an instrument. I told him he was lame. Then I was forced to go to one of the football games, and I watched him perform for the field show and stand tunes, and I fell in love. I had full body chills, and at that moment, a part of me lit up. I knew who I wanted to be, who I needed to be. I needed to be in that band. The very next day, I met the teacher that would change my life for the better, Miss McFerrin. I told her I knew I'd be joining band late, but I had to be a part of this. And I joined band as a trumpet. I wasn't the best at it. I still had bad grades. I didn't want to go to school. I didn't like who I was. Broke a bunch of trumpets. I ended up having to quit band because I was doing poorly in life at that time. At some point later, I joined back in percussion, and I was in love. This year, I blossomed and became who I am now. I went to band camp and thrived through the heat and aches of the intensity. It was worth it, though. When I auditioned, my director pulled me aside and told me she thought I was someone else. I did so good when I played. I'll never forget that because that was the moment I told myself I'd never stop trying. I'd never get up. And so now, every day, I have an extra second. Every extra minute I can give, I do. No matter how stressed or drained I am, I give every ounce of myself to this band and to Miss McFerrin. And it's tiring to me because as a 14-year-old child, I shouldn't be focused on what I have to do next, how I can help, what classes I can give my free time to. I shouldn't lay in my bed and think, how can I help this band? What can I say to make it better? And I can't imagine how tiring it is for Miss McFerrin, who's like a one-man show and has to, just go home and work for this band. So I just think we could do better if we had some extra help.
That's all that I have signed up. Board members, this time I'll open it up to comments, or we can move on to bills and. Sure.
I just wanted to say thank you for the positive meeting with my child. Good job. I just wanted to thank you. And I thank you.
I just want to say I hear all those concerns, and just me as a board member, I do take those concerns seriously, and I will try to do my best to give what you guys need.
Yeah, as some of you know, I was involved in the theater process, when I was in high school, and I agree totally with you. And I think we can look at funding, we can look at future productions, and I think we can improve. So definitely going to be on my agenda for sure. Thank you. Can somebody be added to the public comment or no? Go ahead. Sure.
Thank you, esteemed board members. My name is Mr. Rolfe, and I appreciate you letting me jump in to say something. I just wanted to say, for 24 years now, my wife and I have been directly involved. She has been the absolute director of the last 24 musicals, and I have been right behind her doing everything else that she doesn't do. What I wanted to say is, I wanted to commend you all because in the past 2 years to 3 years, this program has turned around under your tutelage, And even some of the negative board members, we all know who they were, are no longer involved. But I have to say thank you so much for what you have added just in the past 3 years to take this program from almost nothing. When COVID hit, it almost disappeared, but it didn't. And Dr. Hartbauer and you others stepped up and helped my wife bring it to the level that it's at right now, and I can't thank you enough for that opportunity to continue with these children. And even though a lot of the things that may have just been said, they come maybe from a point of what we really want. But without the recommendation that you have done very well in the past 3 years to help support, it's not going to go any further. So I have to let you all know that you have done a great job as a group. We really appreciate the support, and we know it'll continue into the future because everything seems to be on a roll now. And I just wanted to say thank you. I never really get a chance to talk to you personally. So thank you all very, very much for what you've done and where it is now.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Unfortunately, I wish one time I could come here and not have a complaint. But here I am again. I got a couple complaints actually. So, indeed. Before Easter, I get a phone call from the district. I'm not going to put no one's names out there right now, but it will eventually happen. That questioning who lives in my household. I asked what given whatever information they needed, moved on from it, asked what it was pertaining to, they told me they couldn't inform me. So now, I know exactly what it pertained to, and I have not talked to anybody yet. Well, I've talked to several people. You two were in a meeting with me. But school board wise, I have not spoke to any of you yet. I've been trying to keep myself calm and collective because I don't know legally what I'm gonna have to do. So, an accusation was made here at this district level. I know these people are mandated reporters. I understand that. I'm a mandated reporter. So for those of you that don't know, and a lot of you that here don't know me, but most of you board members that I've dealt with in the past know that I have legal custody of my two. Hello. From the time months old. This is the same little boy that happened to, and we're not going to go into detail on that. Had my granddaughter from the time she was 5 months old. So an accusation was made that my grandson was being abused in the home. Now, we waited for hours and hours and hours and hours to make a call to the child line. I need some things changed. Dr. Mahan has already apologized. He said at his level, from this experience, he's making changes in his building. Something needs to be changed in all these buildings. Because what I'm going to tell you is, first off, my grandson's not abused, far from being abused, first off. Second off, I have a granddaughter in the same building. Now, you had him down there, questioned him, looked at his body parts. Never once did anybody think about getting this first grader out of the classroom to see if she was okay and if she was abused or question her. Now, we send these kids back to an abused home. If they're being abused, we're sending them right back home, which I know you all call CYS here. I know CYS comes into this building. So if you really thought this was the case, shame on you. Shame on you. Like I said, I already talked to Dr. Mahan, had a meeting with him about it. He apologized. They're going to do things on their level differently. But I think it goes from high school, middle school, and elementary. Because if there's 5 kids living in my household and you feel one of them's being abused, you need to check on the welfare of all 5, not one. Okay? Second off, when we're making these calls, we need to take into consideration a lot of things that play into this thing, okay? A lot of things, such as the child's mentality, the issues the child has, in all of that. So when you're making an accusation against someone, and let me just tell you, I spent the day with the state police, along with my 2 grandchildren, through state police forensics, okay? So everybody who knows what that means, yes, we're still being accused of abusing these 2 children, okay? So while the abuse goes on here, and we let people without clearances with these kids, nobody ever did anything to anybody, did they? But we're going to make sure we make a spectacle out of this. I understand, just like when, I'm not throwing you out on Lou Ellen, because I do like you. But, the last school board meeting I was at, I know you all want me to shut up already, we're having your little side conversation, but when it came out that the cameras weren't on the buses and the vans, if there's a camera on those buses and vans, and we all know that was part of my set. Cameras had to be on every bus and every van, and have to record. Here we go. I'll talk loud. Have to record for 30 minutes after the vehicle shut off. Correct? That was all part of that, right? So, that little packet went up with that. It's nonstop. And it's funny, right after that meeting, the following week is, when I jumped up in this meeting, throwing a fit, that these cameras aren't in every bus and every van. That's when all of a sudden this accusation's made. Okay? So now let's move on. I then sent emails to everybody. Dr. Hartmeyer, what's your name? It's not Nicholson, you're Martin. You're Dr. Martin, you're Dr. Nicholson, Dr. Mahan, his teachers, Bashire, Toski, Sheehan, his aide, the man who made the accusation, this email went to everybody, am I not correct? Never heard back from anybody except for the special education director. I asked for everybody to attend this meeting that I requested with the school board. Just like I did in the past when the stuff happened with my grandson on the van. Asked for everybody to be present in the meeting, and guess what? We got stuff under the rug. Remember that? Does everybody remember that? Everybody who was invited to that meeting was me, Hartmeyer, and whoever the assistant superintendent was at the time. So again, this meeting consisted of Dr. Mahan, special education director, and Basher. I asked where man was to make the accusation. He needs to be in this meeting as well. So they did go get him. But again, nobody else that I requested to be in this meeting that has information on this. Spent an entire day with my grandson. So first off, in December, we called Chestnut Ridge because my grandson, who was 9 years old at the time, threatened to kill himself. We called Chestnut Ridge. We made a safety plan. We waited to call me till after the school day was over. Sent him home on a van. He didn't want to hurt himself. We're going to put him in danger, everyone else in danger as well. Okay? That was December. On this Tuesday, Thursday when the accusation was made, on Tuesday, Bashar called me 7 times that day. Jason was acting up in the classroom, doing this, that, the other, da-da-da-da-da-da. She told him that she was calling me. He threatened to harm himself again. No safety plan, no Chestnut Ridge that time. We're not consistent. This school district is not consistent on anything that they do. So we need some consistency. Okay? So I then said at this point, when all this happened with the child abuse, listen, I can't deal with the district number. I really can't. My grandson needs to be out of the district, where in an autistic school where he needs to be. Dr. Nicholson told me she would not give me the referral for that. She didn't feel it was necessary. Oh, hey, I need my son. Bring me my son. She didn't feel it was necessary because he's progressing in the Brownsville School District. Now, let me read
Mrs. Listen, we cannot discuss your child or any child's because of FERPA rules and what an administrator did or did not do. Okay? We understand your frustrations, and we'd be more than glad. We have, Mrs. Listen, there's a process to this, all right? And there's people that are responsible for your child, and they met with you. If you weren't happy with that, then you can continue and you can come up to talk to the assistant superintendent or to me, all right? But at this time, we cannot go any further discussing your child's particular situation or any other child's situation.
Okay, well, we're saying he's progressing in Brownsville School District. 4 test scores come home the other day, actually on Friday. We got a 70%, we got a 28%, we got a 50%, and a 46%. Shame on you if you think that's progress. How about that?
Thank you.
May I speak to myself all day tonight?
Two, there was an incident where I'm getting emails and calls because of a serious situation, and I'm afraid to speak because I don't want an attorney after me also. Just to throw that out there. For defamation of character. When the truth is being spoke, which I will say that the article that was written up in the newspaper was actually falsified and we went over this in the meeting. They stated that we have a mentor program. I met with Art Power right after that lovely article went out. That mentor program, they can't tell me who my middle school daughter's mentor is, or who my oldest daughter's mentor was in the middle school.
Mrs. Gibble, Mrs. Gibble, no, I'm going to cut you off, all right, because we answered this to you, Dr. Martin, Mrs. Gibble, this is the end of the conversation. We met with you, we answered your questions, and we're moving forward, Mrs. Gibble, so thank you. Mrs. Gibble, Mrs. Gibble.
Hey, Mrs. Gibble.
Are you in charge of education?
Mrs. Gibble, this is not a question and answer period.
This is pertaining to education.
Mr. Hamilton, could you please remove this lady from the auditorium, please?
Mrs. Gibble, you could have done. This is not the venue for this, Mrs. Gibble.
Mrs. Gibble, this is not the venue for your discussion. We're asking you to please leave at this time.
You're asking me to leave because you want me to be quiet, and I'm not done.
Just
Come
civil
to the district.
So then what requirements are we not meeting? What cover-ups are we doing with the education program because we're behind? Mr. Dorsey is the chairman of education.
Mr. Hamilton, please remove Ms. Gibble from the
He's not
auditorium.
allowed to put his hands on me, so remember that, and it's peaceful. I'm not cussing, I'm not carrying on. You don't want to answer questions, you just try to shut up everybody in this district. Let's mention the fact that the meeting, you said our teachers are happy here, but yet they're leaving at a high rate. But we're not going to talk about that. Meeting, are we? All of our kids? This is my daughter's graduation, not your kid. You're not doing what you did in your township here.
Thank you. All right, board, back to the agenda, please.
All right. I have a question for Mrs. Constable. California Charter School, how many of our kids are there? It doesn't, it says elementary
Right,
school.
it doesn't specify, Mr. Bashir, I think it was all included in out of district. So the total number, Mike, I think we're somewhere around 15.
I'll get you the exact number, but it's somewhere around 15.
Okay, so what programs do they offer at that school? Because I'm not hearing anything good, but what are they offering our students that should be here? And what do they have? Is it a farm? What is it? Have any of our administrators ever been there?
Mr. Bashir, it's a different approach. They receive some type of a grant that they looked at things from where they don't do grades, that they come in. There are times in which they are out and they do, I think they have I'm not even sure what you call it, they have a bee patch that they work with and there are animals and so forth. And there's some connections with outside groups. A lot of that stuff I'm not familiar with how they're doing it or where they're doing that. The only thing I can tell you, it's about 15 of our students. And Mr. Llewellyn, I'm going to guess probably around 23,000 per child. Is that roughly where we're at, or is it about 15?
It depends how the student has an IEP. If they don't have an IEP, they're around 10,000 a year.
And I understand,
IEP,
Dr.
they're
Harper,
30,000.
but my concern as a board member is the amount of money that we're sending across the river for an education that they don't have to be responsible for. They're a charter school, so can we get the grades from them?
No, we actually
You can't get their grades, so our parents don't know that their kids are not getting an education.
We have no say in what they do, and we have no say in not paying them. They can do subsidy reductions. So if the board said we're not going to pay this bill, they would just take it out of our basic ed subsidy.
They would just take our money, I get that.
Yeah, so there's no way around it. It's just.
But if 50 kids wanted to go across the river, they can go. We can't stop them. And I understand, Mr. Constable, I understand all that. My point is, somewhere along the line, this state has to stop this bull to where, hey, I can start a charter school tomorrow right over there, right?
There is a meeting tomorrow that I'll be attending at the IU, and any board member that would like to attend can attend with me at 10 o'clock with local legislators that will be involved. And if you would like to come with me, I'd be more than glad.
I'd love to.
Bring you.
We have good teachers here. Why do they have to go somewhere else? So you met with them to try to entice them to come back, and it's just, we lost all hope. But, no, I commend, I'm not putting in questioning what you're doing, I'm just saying that I'm not that fan of that. You obviously know that for all the months I've been saying that.
But there's a reason why they're leaving. There's a reason why they're out. And we gotta find that reason.
Well, you can't tell me that you can get the education over there that you can get here.
Well, that's not what I'm saying.
You can't get, you'll get a better education here than you're gonna get across that river.
But again, there's a reason why they're across the river.
And Ms. Zupic, when you're saying there's a reason, I thought we were going to have a presentation or some kind of results of the survey that was supposed to be taken, presented at our May meeting.
Mr. Gross, you have to refresh my memory on that. I'm not exactly sure which
Well,
survey.
if you can go back to last
Oh, the
meeting.
survey, you're correct.
I asked for an update and you said we're working on it. We should have it ready for the May
Correct.
meeting.
That is still actually on my desk, the data that I have, and I will get that for you. I
Do we have it?
apologize. Yes.
Well, I'm glad to hear the local legislators are going to be involved, because these laws are like 20, 25 years old. So we definitely, I'm glad to hear that this is happening. That discussion is happening.
I agree, Dr. Malik. It's just the point that, you know, we're a small district and, you know, we value our kids' education. At least I do. I mean, all 9 board members do, but I just not a charter school fan, and I'm not afraid to say that.
Well, let me ask you this question, Mike. If the kids don't go to the charter school across the river, how much is it for PA cyber per kid? Not Brownsville cyber, we're gonna knock out to the side, PA cyber.
Same prices as the.
Same price, thank you.
No.
No, I can't hear him right here. I'm sure they can't hear him out there.
Put it to the speaker. It's coming out of the speaker.
Gonna have to start over because I didn't hear one word.
Different mic this one. There we go. Can you hear me, Mr. Dorsey?
Yes.
Please hear me. Okay, great. So in addition to everything that Mr. Bashir said, completely agree 1,000%. But the other fact is that our tax money is being funneled through this charter school into the California school district. 80% of the funding that charter school gets goes to California school district. Absolutely 1,000,000% unfair, and I'm very happy to hear about the legislative process and those guys coming around tomorrow. Unfortunately, I wish I could be there to go as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so pretty much, Ross, what you were saying is for every $10,000, 8,000 of it goes back to California School District, and what, $2,000 educates our kids? So maybe that's why we don't do grades and anything like that.
Right, you don't have to do anything.
Right.
Could you, Dr. Harbauer, could you give us an update on Thursday of the meeting
Yes.
tomorrow? Thank you.
Yeah.
We still on bills for payment?
Yeah, yes, sir.
One quick comment. In the back, when we put the photocopies of the checks, is there any way we can make those bigger so that we can read what's on them? It's very hard to read the small print. when the checks are that small. In the back on page 10, there's some bills to U.S. Foods. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 orders for the coffee shop over in the middle school, totaling $1,744.50. What are all those orders in 1 month? That's all April orders. So why did we make so many orders, and what is it for?
So they usually restock at like one time and then keep the supplies, but that is all reimbursed back from the cafe club that they have. So they'll be paying for it themselves.
Are we keeping a separate account,
Yes.
and everything coming in and going out's being tracked?
Yes. So that's why we did.
Does the board ever get to see that?
It's through the activity fund. I don't think you guys normally get the activity
Yeah,
fund.
but I personally, and I shouldn't say we as a board may want to see that report.
Yeah, so I know that Mrs. Bush keeps track of all that in there, in the report for the activity funds. That's all also part of the audit. They review those sheets as well. I personally went and helped audit and set it up. So that's why we do the order through the school district ordering it and not the activity fund. That way it was better tracking. So we order it, we see everything, then we bill the activity fund so they pay the bill back to the district, and that way we could keep a better track on everything that was being bought in the cafe versus just checks. It made it easier because they were going through Mrs. Keeler with her orders with U.S. Foods, and it was easier tracking it through the school and then billing the activity fund through the district for tracking purposes.
Yeah, that's just a question I get asked a lot.
Yeah, so it is being tracked. I sat down with all the teachers that are running it. We came up with a system of how they take the deposits in, how they match it up with the students keeping track of orders for the day. That way cash matches orders. They sell everything for $1, so it's easy to track how many dollars came in versus orders, and they're all deposited through the activity fund and put in envelopes, so there's a good tracking system for it.
Okay, yeah, 'cause I know a lot of the parents are worried right now that we're going to create a coffee shop in the high school. One of those is enough. I think I have one more. Oh, on page, it's right by that page 10. It would be, Vector Security. $102,875.99.
Are they done?
So that is the fire alarm system that was approved on 9/15 of 2022. It is been completed, so that is the bill for the completion of it.
Okay, now, also, can we get a report on how much money we have given Vector Security in the past 3 years?
I can run a report.
Because it seems like it's constant, 80,000, 70,000.
And ever since the fire and safety that was approved back with this ESSER, I know that Mr. Boyd and Mr. Hamilton and Mr. Nicholson, before Mr. Hamilton took over, have really looked into, I know the camera system. We went through a whole bidding process instead of going through CoStar.
That was what I was going to ask, if all this is
We
being
did, and so all the cameras now have been bought by Intertech. So we've been moving away on the camera system. The fire alarm is going to be Vector. You're going to see Vector with that, but that was back from prior approval on the fire and safety. So you will still see Vector, but as far as cameras, we've been going a different route from Vector.
So every bit of money we've given Vector over the past 3 years, every one of those things have been bid?
The fire and safety back in 22 was done through CoStar.
Through what?
CoStar.
Okay.
CoStar is the state bidding, so that you don't have to go through the whole formal system.
Now, I'm not sure if there are money limits on what you can use that for, or whether that have to be public bids. But, so I can't say right now.
With CoStar, they do not have to be public bids. CoStar is the state system that helps definitely smaller areas, so you don't have to go through those processes. They still have to be like board approved purchases, but you don't have to go through the full bidding process. Recently though, we've been not just going with CoStar, we've been trying to
Okay, so
bid everything.
that's not just a way around a bidding process?
No, it's set up to make the process of buying things, because they already went through a state bidding process. Those are state bidded prices. They have to match what the state is selling them at. Not everyone can be CoStar. They have to actually go through the bidding process with the state to become CoStar.
Okay.
More bills? Anybody?
Board reports from administrators?
I think my board report got a packet to speak on that. Executive session.
Okay.
We'll talk about it.
Mr. Dorsey, you want to go ahead? I just have one more, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
It's Jeffrey Associates. It's at the final bill for the playground, the elementary.
Which page are you
It
looking
is
at?
page 7.
Yeah, so it's like a split. So that first one there is the install. There was a broken slide, so we replaced the broken slide. They came and did it at the same time that they put the swing set in. So if you go back to page 13, that $10,825, that is the swing set that was down there. That was paid through Title IV, but the one you're looking at was the replacement slide and the installation of it.
No, that's for kindergarten, first grade, or is it?
Yeah, the swing is the one that's out in front of the elementary. The slide was here over on the side of the old playground.
All right, very good, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Dorsey, you want to go ahead?
Okay, first thing comment, I talked to Dr. Hartbauer about possibly getting everybody in the administration involved and figuring out exactly what to do with social suspension. I constantly get emails and being contacted by parents. In part of the problem I keep hearing from the parents is that their child was put on social suspension and a teacher did not put the grades in on time. So if we could fix that problem, and I also said that once we come up exactly what social suspension is going to be, how it's going to be enforced, to have an administrator film something explaining, because a lot of parents, they get something about social suspension that goes like that. They don't read it. So if administrator can put a link on our website to them explaining everything, that may help a little bit. I don't know, but it's something to try.
Well, yeah, thank you, Mr. Dorsey. I was actually going to bring that up from the policy committee perspective tonight, to start the process of reviewing the social suspension model and possible changes. Just everything you said, I totally agree with.
Great. Let me see. I heard also some problems with cell phone policy again. I thought we had a policy. I don't know, is it a problem with the policy or is it a problem that's not being enforced? So, we need to know that a little more clearly, because I thought we had that taken care of. With the Education Committee, I've had some questions by board members. There's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of money involved. So The first couple here are just renewals of things. Then after that comes all the money, all the programs. So Dr. Hartbauer was good enough to contact me Friday and go over some of these things. But tonight I would like you, Dr. Hartbauer, also to explain slowly and thoroughly all of these programs and all of these purchases that we want to make so that the board can figure that out. That being said, whenever we have a huge amount of things to be put on education, you know, maybe in the future it would be a good idea to call an education meeting to discuss with the whole board all of those things. 'Cause my, oh my, we have clear up the peak on this. So there's a lot of stuff. So, discuss approving Delphi Educational Services in Brownsville Area School District for next year, renewal. Item B, another renewal with our Fayette County Drug and Alcohol Commission. C, discuss approving the professional development plan for the Summer Teaching Academy, SWYE 360, at a cost of $15,000 paid by ESSER money. So
And go ahead, A, B, D, and E, Mr. Dorsey, are all agreements. Are you okay with that? Those are just the annual agreements that we have to sign with them in case we would need them.
Well,
and I'll go back and answer C for you.
Okay, and D, was D the one that Ms. Victor was talking about?
No.
Oh, G, okay. Yeah, the ones there that we can go back to C.
Okay, so C, SWYE 360, that is the organization or the company that we use to analyze our software that we use throughout the district, both what is free that maybe the teachers are using and we're unfamiliar with what they're using, and what we've paid for, to see which ones are being used, which ones are being used with fidelity, or which ones are we getting the most out of our money to use, and which ones maybe we're not getting our money's worth out of using. We have taken that, we've met Mr. Llewellyn, Dr. Martin, and myself, and the principals at times, looking at some of these that we will be cutting. We'll be bringing that to the board for the June, that we will no longer use those services. But then this particular motion is this group now will take the platforms that we are using and then train our teachers to use them with more fidelity as they go. So we get the most for the money that we're spending, and the teachers understand the process and the validity that they can get from each one of those programs.
So this will replace the previous system we purchased to.
This is the next phase of that. There's
so
a phase,
it's related.
Right, so it's like a 3-year phase. That there's a phase in which they analyze where we're at. There's a phase in which we train that, and there's a phase in which where they try to move us in a direction that we're more efficient and effective, if you will.
Okay. D, discuss approving the comprehensive services agreement with Allegheny Intermediate in the Brownsville Area School District. E, discuss approving the agreement with Intermediate Unit 1 in the Brownsville Area School District for speech and language, hearing, and vision support services for the 24-25 school year. F, discuss purchasing money vehicle curriculum for the high school banking and personal finance class at a cost of $1,799 for the 24-25 school year.
This came about actually through discussions that we've had as a board many times. We have students that are leaving here and they don't know how to balance a checkbook, they don't know how to save money, they don't know how to create an expense report and so forth. So we were able to come up and meet with this organization. We also had Mrs. Stout and the teacher review this as well. The teacher feels that this would be a valuable asset to his curriculum that he could use, which would then, it's really a student's own personal finance, how to understand that, how to build and save for the future, all those types of things that are required on a daily basis that sometimes get overlooked in the school system.
Okay. G, discuss purchasing Lyra tutoring services for the 24-25 school year. Total cost of $71,353.55.
We've heard about the Kelly services, and we looked at the Kelly services, and it's fidelity of how well it was going or not how well it was going. In order to maintain that, where we're reaching our kids and having a chance to provide extra services for our kids, we found Litera tutoring services. We have met with them administratively, central office wise, and they've also met with our teachers. And then just this past week, again, they met with counselors, and it'll connect with our MTSS program in the middle school. It's an offering where we have so many hours and teachers, where one teacher could cost us to pay for one teacher is going to be at least $70,000 for a teacher and benefits and everything else, where we can reach these kids all day long with the possibility of 20, 30 different tutors, and it's a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-3 ratio at best. And there's some guarantees. And Dr. Martin, I'm going to have you talk a little bit more about the program, because I know you have something there in front of you. If you could, please.
Will this be cheaper than Kelly Services?
Yes.
Yes. It can also, in addition, be paid with Title IV money. At this time, we have a grant for ATSI, which was written and the funding was allocated for tutoring. So this will satisfy that grant, which is coming to an end, and that money needs to be spent. And then the Title IV money moving forward, it can support instructional programming, but it cannot support the hiring of a person. So this would be something supplemental to use in the interim while we maybe take a look at, like Mrs. Victor said, hiring someone part-time to be here. The problem is we couldn't. Even with Kelly Services, they weren't sending us certified teachers. We were down to one at the high school, so Ms. Stout was struggling on that end. The middle school was working effectively because we had a retired teacher who was here and another tutor who was here on site, but it doesn't always work that way to get a person in the building. Litera will also work within our curriculum. They'll give us a person, a tutor, who's familiar with, say, our reading program, so that they would mesh nicely with the student and understand the Wonders program, for instance. So it's beneficial, you know, for sure, and I think we should look at all options moving forward.
Does somebody actually come into the classroom and do the tutoring, or is this an online tutoring?
This will be online live with the same tutor every day. So it's not like they're getting somebody different, it's the same person every day that they'll connect with.
Thank you.
Okay, item H, discuss purchasing Apogee Rooms and Integrated Communication Platform with a 3-year contract, $34,550. That's through Esser's money.
Correct. Now, Rooms is a subcategory. Apogee is the website that we use. Rooms is another service that they provide. We have tried, our teachers have tried texting, they've tried Remind, they've tried Google Classrooms, we tried Tourboo, which did not take off for us. Since this time, Apogee has created this platform where everything would be connected to our website to make it easier for parents and for teachers to connect to teachers, teachers to connect to kids, teachers to connect to parents, vice versa. It can be subgrouped, it can be a group that can be combined for administration to reach the board back and forth. It's a communication system that is monitored and secured on a daily basis, so we can tell what's going on.
Okay. Something along with this is, you know, we have bought, like you said, we bought this, it didn't work, we bought this, it didn't work. If we can maybe investigate these a little bit more upfront before we pay for them and we buy them, make the commitment, we wouldn't have to buy something better. Because it seems like we just keep spending good money after bad.
Yeah, so on that point, Andy, can we get demo licenses for these? That's pretty much the industry standard these days, is, you know, try before you buy kind of thing.
I can look into that, Mr.
Demo,
Davis.
but a demo license that we can use if it would expire.
That's a good point, Ross.
We will look into that.
Item I, discuss renew the contract with Acadians, Voice, Sopris Learning, and the Brownsville School District at a cost of $5,813.60, paid out of Title IV.
Dr. Morgan, would you like to?
This is our K-2 benchmarking system. So 3 and up through the high school, we use the CDTs, but our kindergartners, first grade and second grade, we use Acadians to benchmark them.
Item J, discuss approving a 1-year contract with ASAP through, or ASAP through Educational Development Software, paid by FCDAC.
That's the Fayette County Drug and Alcohol is going to pay for that. That's going to help streamline our SAP process in regards to a more fluid system. Am I speaking correctly on that, Dr. Nicholson? Wherever you, okay. So it's to try to streamline that is recommended by the county.
Okay, discuss purchasing Wilson Foundations, decodable readers, level 1 and 2, and codes K through 2 bundle at a cost of $26,815. Paid for Title IV money, and all right, you explained there was money left over from 22-23 school year.
Correct. In executive session, I'm going to have to discuss that
Right.
area.
Okay. L, discuss purchasing elementary novels for grades 4 and 5. Shiloh, 125 copies, and Mr. Popper's Penguins, 100 copies, in the amount of $1,161 for the 24-25 school year within budgetary guidelines. M, discuss purchasing Inspire Science Series K through 5, 5-year contract for McGraw-Hill at a cost of $157,991.33. ESSER money's paying for that.
Yeah, this is the new science series. If you remember, over the years, we've been using the ESSER money to catch up with a lot of our curriculum. And science was the next one on the docket for us to take care of, and we were able to do that with that money.
And this was recommended by our teachers?
Excuse me?
This was recommended by our teachers?
They were
Our
involved.
teachers reviewed it. Yes, every grade band reviewed it with Dr. Constable.
What else coming with that, do we know?
They went through, the teachers went through with Dr. Constable at each grade level, and they decided on what materials and resources they wanted. And we went ahead and ordered those resources, so it's a full series. It's very nice, and it coincides with their reading series.
And discuss purchasing 1,500 Chromebook cases from CDWG at a cost of $33,750. ESSER money's paying for that one too.
Correct. The new Chromebooks, Mr. Boyd and Mr. Llewellyn, I believe they're a different size, so we needed a different cover, same size?
No, it's just
So we're looking at a better case instead of the cases that we have.
It's a better case, plus those cases are 4 years old, so as bad as the Chromebooks look, the cases look just as bad. So it's a better case, and as you asked before, this was bidded out, so that's why you see a different company buying the cases through than the Chromebooks, because we went through the process of getting quotes from different companies, and this was the...
Now, those new cases, are they a need or a want?
They're definitely needed unless you want to spend another $400,000 for Chromebooks again. Because all the broke,
That's
they'll
my
all be
point.
broke by next year.
That's my point, Mr. Dorsey, is we spent $300,000 for Chromebooks.
Yeah.
I think they'd give you the case, but they want $33,000 more.
No.
So we better do it, right?
They get busted either way. It's a shame. It's a shame how they come back. I mean, man, I don't know. Item O, discuss purchasing Magna Math and the Brownsville Area School District 3-year contract, $31,500. 5-year contract would be $52,500. So I guess we have to choose, pay for that through ESSER money.
This is, again, we had the teachers choose this. It was brought to us that a lot of school districts nationally are going to this, and so we brought our secondary, middle school, and high school math teachers all together. They met on 2 different occasions and got to meet with them without any of us involved. They asked the questions that they wanted to, and they unanimously all came back to us and said that they would really like to move forward with this series. We then asked the elementary to look at it to see if they wanted to do that. The elementary at this time does not feel comfortable moving forward just yet. So we are just going to stay secondary level with Magna Math moving forward.
Okay, now, we have to decide which we want to do, the 3-year or 5-year contract?
Correct.
Is this something that's going to be obsolete after 3 years?
No, it'll be their series. It'll be their plan that they use.
Has it been around for a while?
I would say it's probably within 5 years from its infancy stages.
Okay. Well, what's the board feel on this?
I'm talking with Mr. Llewellyn, the money is there now to go 5 years. Just gives you a little security that you won't have to worry about later when ESSER money runs out. We could go either direction, but I think the 5 years gives you a little bit more continuity as you move.
Well, I'm fine with the 5, and the good point there is, you know, we have the money with the ESSER money, and we don't want to be tied into paying for more out of pocket once it runs out. But my biggest concern on there is making sure that after 3 years, it's still good, and we're not saying, oh, we need to go buy something else.
Point well taken.
Hey, so, Keith, a math teacher that I know really well, she really wanted to play like the demo of the software. Is that still? I know I keep harping on that a little bit, but
yeah, they had to have a commitment.
As somebody who works in the software business,
yeah,
will make it look great. Right. But when somebody touches it, that's when you really understand if this stuff works. And if it does as advertised, and that's kind of what she was looking to do. I don't know if that's still possible.
It is. As soon as they get a commitment that the board wants to go this direction, they will open it up for them to use, and then they can use it through the summer as well. So they just need to know that we are committed to move forward with them.
Okay. Which I get. I mean, ideally, like, they want to try it, to confirm that we want to buy it. I mean, we want to, it looks good, but, you know, at the end of the day, we still need to try it. But if they try it, and we've already committed, then it's too late. We already bought it, basically.
Right, and I can have those conversations between now and Thursday with the company and get back to you.
Okay, that'd be good. I appreciate it.
But again, this was approved or looked at by the teachers, correct?
Correct.
Right. So, okay.
And finally, the last one, P, discuss our ad hoc committee. I know we've talked about the past meeting of putting a group of concerned citizens and parents together to discuss and, you know, bring their views to the board. We have already sent out advertisements and explaining how to be on the ad hoc committee. Doc, you want to update?
Yeah, as of this evening, we have not had any applications.
None.
Any interest whatsoever. So if anybody is interested, please contact us as soon as possible.
I find that shocking.
I agree. And I know we were possibly thinking about bringing names that we had. I think we need to revisit that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I agree, it's very shocking.
I mean, we've gone through some stressful meetings lately, and some people have said they wanted on this and wanted to be part of this. I can't believe they didn't put any applications in.
I totally agree.
It's on the website, and there was an advertisement as well. If you go right on the website, it'll show you exactly what you need to do.
All right, personnel. A, discuss adding the following names to the district's professional substitute list: Jane Harvey, Cora Gira, Aliyah Aerobic, Nicholas Pollock, and Darla Hanson. All the documentations have been provided. B, discuss hiring Beth Lindsay as a special education teacher for the Brownsville Area School District, Step 1, $39,420, effective August 1st, 2024, in accordance with the BEA contract. Everything's okay with that?
Correct.
C, discuss hiring Nicholas Cito as a as a social studies teacher for the Brownsville Area School District on step one, $39,420, effective August 1st, 2024, in accordance with the BEA contract. Any questions?
That's
D,
good.
discuss accepting the letter of retirement from Albert Douglas Kaminsky.
We're going, yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Gish, this is also gonna need to be discussed a little bit more in length in the next session.
Okay, thank you. E, discuss hiring 2 custodians, that being executive also.
It will be, and we'll have to talk about the names, but we're gonna move forward.
All right. Discuss creating a new K-12 special education position, and
What we're looking at with our numbers and talking to Dr. Nicholson and the building principals is that we have a lot of we're up to 33, pushing 34% in our district that need the resource, and also they need, for cyber as well. The students that are on cyber also need to have somebody to overlook them. So we're looking to create another special education position because of our numbers are indicating that.
Now, this would be one position, and would you have them float between the schools? What are we talking about?
We have to solidify that. That's why we put K to 12 so we could use them anywhere. So right now, the need, as we're speaking tonight, the need is looking like it's going to be probably at our middle school or high school level in regards to resource room, and then also for cyber. The cyber, they don't necessarily have to go remote because they can log on anywhere during their time for cyber. She is the administrator. She's not the teacher for special education. This is special education for a teacher.
Is there money for this position? I mean, is there funds for this position?
Mike, we're budgeted.
It was budgeted to have another, based on numbers, I have a no-name line for a teacher to be hired for special education, just because of, like Dr. Hartbauer said, that the numbers are pushing 34% now.
Would that be step one money?
Correct.
Well, I mean, that's, you just never know, because you don't know who's gonna apply for it.
Right, if we get young applicants, yes. If we don't get anybody, and the only person that comes in and they need step 4 or 5, then the board's not.
All right.
All right, G, discuss employee aid, which we will talk about in executive session.
Correct.
Rick, well, Bob probably. Earlier I had asked Dr. Hartpower to look into and, let the board know exactly what our district policy is on theft. I had a question about that, to find out exactly what that is. So hopefully we'll get that before Thursday.
Thank you. Ms. Columbia?
Item A, a motion to approve the proposed final budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year with revenue set at $34,523,065 and expenditures set at $34,523,065. Millage rates are as follows: Fayette County 19.43, Washington County 13.43, which includes an increase of 0.4. Budget will be advertised and available for review at the Brownsville Area School District Business Office, 5 Falcon Drive, Brownsville 15417, beginning May 17th, 2024.
This is required by the state to, the pre-budget to be approved, and it has to sit for the 30 days before we can vote on the final budget in June, which we have enough time between now and our next board meeting to do that. The previous years, we had to adjust the June meeting because we didn't have the 30 days. We do the way the calendar works this year. And I do want to say, even though this is a nice, concise motion and it's only 5 lines long, it's a series of a year's worth of diligent work, and we are fortunate to have somebody of Mike Llewellyn's caliber that has done an amazing job to balance our budget and put us in good standing. So, Mike, again, thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
And Mr. Dorsey, I know you don't like the 0.4, but it falls right into that Dole County. The last 2 years.
It's a screwed up calculation.
It is. I'm still gonna keep playing around with it till the final budget to see if we can do any adjustments
I know
there to try to bring it down. But
And you look at the last
it's all.
two budgets,
Yeah, it would
Decrease.
decrease.
Yeah, that's why I even told him, I says, I can't get mad at you for this, because the last couple times,
Yeah.
it's actually gone down, so now it's probably just leveled itself back
It
off.
actually just bumped it back up to basically where it was before the last two decreases happened
Yeah.
over the last 2 years. Just to be transparent on those numbers, like with that 0.4, if you currently pay $500 in your taxes, you're looking at an increase of $15.35.
Yeah.
If you pay $1,000, you're looking at an increase of $30.70 with that 0.4. I'm still going to keep working on it to see if I can play around with that formula that no one understands, to see if it can be adjusted. But it all plays into assessed values between the two counties, which is Fayette and Washington. 97% of our taxes are from Fayette County, so Washington County side is just kind of at the mercy of what happens in Fayette County. It just automatically adjusts it. One good news to put out to everyone, that the homestead farmstead, the state is giving an additional $83,000 to the school for that. So anyone that gets the homestead farmstead tax credit on their real estate taxes will be seeing an additional $27.58 savings on there. So even though there's like that 0.4 increase with the homestead farmstead increase, it hopefully will offset it, that you won't see any people in Fayette County that have homestead farmstead will actually see a decrease on their tax by that same $28 and some change. So even though the tax rate stayed the same, ones that have the homestead farmstead tax credit will see a decrease in their taxes by that amount.
Item B, discuss termination of the Intermediate Unit 1 Health Insurance Consortium Trust effective June 30th, 2024, upon the conclusion of the 2023-2024 school year. Item C, discuss the renewal of the district's vision and dental plan.
So that B and C kind of go together. The Intermediate Unit Health Consortium, that's who our health insurance used to be with. We stayed with them for vision and dental. Health insurance kind of went away. Since they're only vision and dental, the consortium decided that they're going to close at the end of this year. But all the schools that were in with vision and dental, Davis Vision and United Concordia, I believe are the two, said they would keep everybody as a group and keep the same rates. And they'll treat it as a consortium pricing, even though we're not a consortium.
The one at the IU.
The one at the IU is closing.
I mean, or dental and
The
vision will go where? Stay there, or will it go up to ASAP?
No, it will not go up to Asia. It'll stay with United Concordia and Davis Vision, but they're gonna keep it as the pricing. So that's 1 year to stay in compliance with everyone's contracts. The future year, we can then decide through negotiations if they wanna stay that same route or if they wanna look elsewhere.
Thanks, Mike. Item D, discuss approving to operate the summer feeding program for 2024. And item E, discuss approving the agreement to conduct an auction sale and auctioneer's commission from Fred Peters Auctioneers LLC.
And that approximate cost would be about $900.
Yeah, so that was the auction. We finally got a price that Mrs. Keeler and Mr. Jacobek got together and got with that group and finally got the cost to get that started.
Mr. Gammon, you have a?
You have an agenda?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep, I do. So hey, just real quick, back on the finances, from item A, just, I want to confirm, Mike, and Mr. Dr. Harbaugh, I think we did talk about this last week, that the budget is based on current manning of our schools with our teachers and everything else, so that in the event that if we have some teachers put in retirement packets between now and the beginning of the year, the budget accounts for that, and we would replace any retiring teachers. Just want to confirm that in public, that is what we discussed on Friday.
That is correct.
Correct.
Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, yeah, so moving along here for item A, the library renovations. I think we're pending any objections. We'd like to put a motion on the table for Thursday for the library renovations from that was presented to us at the Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting last week. Great job by Ms. Salvucci and her team that came in and briefed us on that, basically renovating the library and keeping books in the library and some other spaces in there for us to use, paid for with grant money.
Right, and so that motion on Thursday, Mr. Gammon will say pending, the acceptance of that grant.
Yes, perfect. Perfect. Just a real quick update on the Redstone Athletic Facility. And Jerry, I might need a little bit of assistance here if I mess anything up, but basically, lighting is in the works. That will be done. Paving is locked in and will be done. Our real challenge is with the booth currently, that we are working with T2 Engineering on how that is gonna go. They are designing the plans for that, of how that will work. We will then take those plans and put those out for a request for proposals, an RFP, for people to come back and put money towards. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm glad we started this process in January. I am not going to lie, a little bit nervous that we are not really under contract yet for the press box area, but I think we still have a little bit of time. I don't think we're going to have that by Thursday, though, are we, Mike and Jerry?
I don't believe so. And then when it comes to the press box, if the press box does not get done, the only thing that'll happen is that the third floor of the press box will just have to be off limits. So they still could run it. It's just that third floor is going to be off limits.
Yeah, we might want to kind of look into a Plan B rental, kind of something, maybe if we don't get this ready by the fall. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that, I guess.
Mr. Gammon, I have a question. Mr. Gammon.
Ross, 1 second. Rocky, answer the question.
I have a question, going back to A. I still am in the dark about a lot of this library renovation. I wasn't able to attend the Buildings and Grounds meeting because it was scheduled while I was at work. Now this, you're saying there's gonna be books, correct?
Yeah, part of that.
This setup is gonna be how? Is it gonna be a coffee shop with pillows all over the floor to lay on, or is it gonna be instructional?
There's a grant that is to build a student center / wellness center, and it's going to have small areas for small group instruction, individual work, research work, computers that will be put in there for kids, desktops that will be put in there as well, and the library books, which will be reviewed by our staff for the most current and the ones that are used the most.
That explanation sounds a lot better than what we have in the middle school right now, because, you know, one of my biggest problems over in the middle school is we're using, you know, we have a shortage of teachers, and we're using, for some reason, a certified teacher to serve coffee. I mean, we need to utilize our teachers the best we can, and I don't want to create the same mistake a second time.
That is, that coffee shop is through the certified teacher is in charge of our life skills, where they're learning those skills necessary as they take money, make change for money, and so forth.
And you're saying they're teaching a life skills class?
It is a life skills teacher that takes the class in there to run the coffee shop, that's correct.
Okay, so Jerry, if you don't mind, if you could, I'm pretty sure you're there, if we could talk about HVAC real quick. I don't think it's gonna require a motion, but just a quick update for everybody on the board, in the audience would be great.
One other thing about it, can't forget about that baseball field. Put it in the report. That thing needs stuff.
Hello? Oh, sorry.
He's talking about the baseball field.
Okay, sorry, I can't hear.
Yeah, so Mr. Gammon, he mentioned that we need to discuss our plans moving forward for the baseball field.
Okay, thank you.
As far as the HVAC, the BASD, a major part of the project will be done starting June 10th. They'll be putting 3 new roof options on in front of the high school office. The front of the high school will be closed all the way down to the gym for most of the week of June 10th, with all the equipment coming in, cranes, and all the equipment that they'll need to install it all over. After
Okay, thanks, Jerry, appreciate it. And then, item D, discuss the high school, middle school roof, so not critical yet, but definitely getting to the spot where we need to kind of do some repairs. Jerry and Mike together kind of came up with a plan, and I think it is, correct me if I'm wrong, was it about $300,000 of preventative maintenance money is in the budget, next year to kind of start focusing on those types of things. Mike, help me out, correct me if I misspoke at all.
It's about 170,000, so the 170,000 is 100,000 for the roof, and then trying to come up with a paving, maintenance plan that we can put in place, because everyone sees the parking lots coming in and out. We've kind of always went the route of wait till we have to replace the whole thing, and spend 250,000 replacing it. Me and Jerry have met with some companies just to start the process of looking at maybe allocating 30,000 a year. It's like a 5-year plan, and every 5 years you'd be back to square one, and you wouldn't be stuck with a large payment of 250,000 replacing the whole piece, because we can keep it up the code as we're going versus ripping up the whole parking lot and putting a new one down.
Thank you, sir. And then item E, discuss blackout fitting to apply privacy film to the windows and doors at 6 entrances at the elementary school, the main entrance of the middle school, the exterior entrances, windows of both the middle school and high school cafeterias, and interior hallways of the high school office. A heat UV glare reduction film will also be applied in the interior of the windows of the gym lobby, during the trophy case. The total cost was $10,894.80 and paid with a PCCD safety grant funds. That completes my section.
Thank you.
Rob,
Any questions?
just a question. So should we add the baseball field discussion on there tonight, or is that for the future?
I think we can add a motion to get bids for the baseball field, that's when we'll go on.
You heard it?
Get bids exactly for what, for the ball field?
Mr. Yogbet, the bids for the ball field would be for the resurfacing in the ball field, is that correct?
Well, we had different directions, and that's what I was asking for. Do you want to resurface the infield? If we do, we need to get prices. Give me permission, I can get you some prices from the same company that did our softball. It's gonna be a lot more than what the softball field is with bigger area. This was discussed going to California and playing high school games with the California field, because all they use it for areas for practice, because they play all the games with the Wildcats.
Right. So yeah, I did look into that, and it is a possibility. They are concerned though with the quality of that field, the practice field, so I would like for some folks to go down and look at that.
So,
At
Mr.
California.
Yogbet, we're gonna set up a schedule for me, you, Mike, and then eventually whoever is hired as the athletic director to go with, Dr. Mahalik to take a look at that facility.
It is a possibility though.
It's on me. Yeah, you ready? Can I have an executive session for A, B, and C?
Yeah, we'll
Now,
discuss that.
because we're,
Go,
you told me go
go,
from,
do D, E, F, and G, and then we can go into the next session.
all right, for D then is hiring Vaughn Braddock as the varsity assistant coach for the 23-24 school year with the compensation set at $3,040.
Question.
And Terry, real quick on that's not a typo, that's this current year, right?
That's
It's
this.
like we're
Yeah,
having that when the season's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
that was
confused
the-
about that,
yeah,
too.
That's now. Yeah,
We
just-
missed it. Okay.
We missed it.
Fair enough, thank you.
E, discuss Rachel Salvucci as the high school head volleyball coach for the 24-25 school year with compensation set at $4,050. Did you have a question, Coach Ron?
I did. I didn't hear, I heard something about the 23-24 season.
Yeah, we forgot to put it on there. He didn't get.
Okay,
that's
so
what it
this is this year, because what I was questioning was the baseball coach.
Correct, right.
We had to hire the head coach first.
Right, this was missed the first time around.
All right, got it, thank you.
Discuss hiring Anthony Hertz as the assistant school volleyball coach for the 24-25 school year with compensation set at $3,040. He's new. You just want to talk? we just asked Keith, he's new, you wanna give a little bit, like, does he have his clearances where?
Yeah, he's a teacher in the school.
Okay,
Yes, yes,
He had experience with that.
yes.
thanks.
And he's recommended by the head coach.
Great. Yeah, fine. Discuss approving Crystal Ackerman as the volunteer high school volleyball coach for the 24-25 school year. Anything on that? Fine.
Make a motion to go to executive session for athletics and personnel.
Athletics and personnel.
And this, everybody good with this being the conclusion of the meeting, once we're done with executive session, we'll go on? Is that okay with you? Rob?
Admin, you're good to go.
Yeah?